I'd like to call to order.
Okay, sorry.
Should I restate that again?
It's caught on the recording, just not the streaming.
Okay, cool. All right, perfect. Well, we've called the meeting to order. We're now working for the adoption of the agenda. I'd like to start with the approval of the minutes. May I have a review and a motion?
So moved.
So moved. May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The minutes have been approved. Next order of business will be the Main Street report.
And Mr. Pike is not here.
Okay.
He did accept a meeting, and I know he had another engagement later today,
All right.
but he came in my office and was supposed to be bringing us a summary of what is going on, but I have not seen him in the last few hours, so.
Well, hopefully he'll still be able to make the meeting this evening. We'll
Yes,
just move him
And
around.
if not, what I'll do is get the summary from him and email it to all of you, so that you at least have an update, because it's been a couple months.
Okay, that would work. I guess at this point, we'll move on to discussions on questions from the last meeting. Do we have any?
In your packet, I put together, it's been a couple of meetings, so I don't know if y'all remember the questions, but basically, we talked about the budget. So I put together the sheet showing what the budget is for this year. It's cut quite a bit, and I think that's because it wasn't being used, and say they were finding places to reduce. That's not to say if we start using it, we can ask for them to increase it, so, because of the surveys and everything. But right now, it's set at 3,000.
All right.
So I gave you that, and then there were some questions on exactly what the HPC does, and so I put the little one sheet in there that kind of outlines everything that we do. And I've also given the new members, minus Ms. Booth, because it's still in my office, the book, the large notebook on HPC, with all the questions and answers in it for just the whole shebang. Also in here are some, because we're going to partner with the Main Street program in May to do a presentation together, and that didn't happen on either end, but I still gave their meeting times and dates so that we know when they meet, in case we did want to coordinate together. And then after that is just some training information, different trainings and workshops that I found for historic preservation. And if there's anything that you guys find that you're interested in, you can just let me know and I can sign you up. And that was the majority of the questions that y'all, that you had asked.
Let's go back to the downtown. The next meeting, and I'm sorry, would be what date again?
For the Main Street?
Main Street, yes.
Let's see. They changed some around. Their advisory board meets on the third Friday, so that's already, is that already passed? That would probably be this Friday, I think.
Mhm.
So they'll be meeting at 9:30. They usually meet at City Hall.
Okay.
And then they have other committees within them, design committee and so forth, but I think the advisory board is the one that we would be interested in attending if.
I think this coming Friday is a little near,
Right.
but maybe we could get on the
For the next
July
one.
docket if we could. If you could confirm that. What I would like to be able to do is, if we are on the docket, to get a couple of us to be able to sit at the Main Street meeting. Nothing more to hear what they're saying, put faces to names, and kind of get a relationship going with that particular group and us. There's a lot of things that we can help provide them in advice and concepts out there to working on. It also gives us a part to be a little bit additionally part of the Main Street organization. And I think they are opening their arms to us. We just need to take advantage of the invitation. So what I'd like is if you could see that, when you see that next meeting, why don't you put an invitation to attend, and then we can mark that up and at least try to get two of us that are going to be there.
Absolutely.
All right. Cool. All right, the next thing I'd like to talk about is training and seminars. Okay. The conferences and training are out there. What's happened in the past is that we try to find something that maybe 3 or 4 of us can go to at once that's near, where there would be normally within 50 miles, for lack of a better term. So what I'd like to do is try to find some conference that by the end of the summer or early fall, these are normally Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. City pays for us to go. It's a training seminar that we are required as commissioners to keep our education up to speed, and this would be a good way of getting the credits, and we need to do that.
Sounds good.
So I know each one of us have different months that are super busy, but I know that the summer is a little tough with families and everything, but sometime September, October, there's a lot of conferences that time. We've even gone to the point we stayed overnight and came back the next day, so. But anyone that I've gone to has been extremely informative, and you come back with some great ideas.
Sounds good.
So I think as a very important initiative this year that as a group we all get to one at least. All right. I believe, Kim, what we've done is basically gone through some initiatives with Main Street, trying to get to their next meeting,
Okay.
which will probably be in July, third Friday. And then the second thing is there's a list of conferences out there that I'd kind of like for us to try to find some time to attend. They're normally day events, normally within 50, 60 miles. And from LaGrange to Dallas to certain parts of Atlanta. All right. But I think I'm not too sure to what level of training that our charter says we have to reach, but I do know that there are at least a minimum of 2 to 5 hours a year.
Absolutely, that's true. I'll check on that as well.
All right, let's now move into new business. We have the certificate of appropriateness application. At this point, do you want to make that application or make any comments?
I was filling in for the general manager. He had to go up to Maryland in the corporate office, so I was kind of filling in. I didn't want to get the paperwork and stuff.
I can tell you that it was I believe the house is 18, was it 92, I think. It was an old house in the historic society, in the historical area, and it had a fire that started in the attic, mainly for structural purposes affected the attic and the front porch. Everything else was smoke damage, and they were able to clean that up, seal it, but now they need to actually repair the front porch and the attic. So they put in the request, and in the packet, there's a letter from them, as well as a list of the repairs that it needs, interior and exterior. And so they're just coming to us. The insurance company only wants to cover 60% of the porch canopy. So one of the things that they're trying to do is to show that the whole thing needs to be, especially since it's a historical site, be covered and repaired so that they will cover the whole thing. But we have to prove that to the insurance company.
So we're trying to make sure it's to match.
Right.
You know, a lot of times they say, well, it's like, good luck trying to find rough sawn wood right now. Doing Canada and Indiana, and they don't have real lumber per se. They've got reclaimed from barns and stuff like that, but to get a 2x6, 2x8, or 2x10 rough sawn that's real 2x, it's kind of rough, and especially the porch ceiling, it's the old beam, and so to try and match, we're requesting from the insurance company that the whole front porch needs to go. It's the dining room and the porch is right outside that. So we're trying to make sure that, you know, they don't do, hey, only this got damaged, because it's a historic site, you've got to do the rest of it to make it match whatever we can get for that time period. it's like the windows in the attic, there's 6 of them. And they're all, the old, one is single pane glass. 3 of them have been destroyed, so it's like, we gotta replace the other 3, so they'll all match. That actually, the windows, they're not operating, the fixed windows in the attic portion of the house. But again, it's to maintain the historic value of the house.
Do you have an architect that's helping you with this?
I don't know if Rich has contacted one, Sean Ritchie, has contacted one or not, but I can find that out.
I was curious because you're probably going to have to go in for a permit on that restoration.
Yeah, and in the letter, he stated that a structural engineer has been engaged.
Right.
So they have not come in for their permit yet, or been issued, because
We've been talking with Rhonda.
that's me.
You're
Because
right.
they needed to come in to do this first, since it was a historic.
They're going to be nailed for the number 2 yellow pine, and that's what they're having troubles picking up right now. As a board, it's our goal to make sure that you replicate that home because it's a signature home in the community. And what we want it to look like is like it when it was built. Okay? So utilizing anything but the historical material that was really spec for the home is something that we want to see followed on that particular building, since this.
So in the attic portion, really, you can hardly get in the attic, because it's one of these that 1x2s, you go vertically straight up to get in the attic. Even those rough sawn boards in the attic would have to be to match the existing ones.
Yes. Second, those windows have to match exactly also.
Yeah, and the windows are visible.
Right.
I don't know anybody that can get in the attic.
Right.
I barely squeeze through.
The other aspect is, how are you demoing this porch that's on the building? Are you taking a complete rip-off and starting anew, or are you filling in the
The
gap?
structure of the porch is fine, it's just the ceiling
Right.
of it. And it's distorted from the water that hit it, so strip it down and see how much of it needs to go. But if any of it needs to go, we have to take all the ceiling out to make it match.
Exactly. Are you going to match it with the existing product that's there?
Trying to right now.
Um,
Like I say, even though the deck is 1x8s and 1x6s with OSB on top of it.
What we're looking for, every home, whether it's 100 years old or 80 years old, has 80 years of history. So you had the original design of the house, and then you had 80 years of retro whatever across the board. Okay. I would have to make sure that, as a board, that we agree with your processes moving forward. All right, that's the reason I'd asked to check to see if you had an architect that had been engaged in this process.
He's got an engineer and I think the architect is working with him.
I'd like to leave this open to some of our council questions about this home, because this is a first impact home.
Okay. Well,
What we're doing here is setting the precedence for future restoration.
correct. The one question, the statement that you've made is that you can't find materials. I'm going to beg to differ with you a little in that you have not checked one of your resources. And I suggest that you go to the Farmers and Market Bulletin as published by the Georgia Department of Agriculture. If you need access to it, I'll loan you my password. It's a nominal fee. It's $10 a year to subscribe. In the kind of in the other services to farmers is all this business about I cut lumber. And they've got, will cut, you got You want pine, you want oak, you want hickory, you want walnut, you want poplar, you want maple, you want this, you want that. You name it the size, I got it. We'll custom cut. So
You get that, because
the market is available in this general area because I believe there's a fellow down in Noonan in Coweta County. I believe there's also one up above Dallas in Paulding County. And I believe there's also one in Fairburn. I know there's a mill yard down in Fairburn. That I would think before we exhaust everything and do a total tear down, that we go back and look at this. And I'm not saying they're going to be cheap, but I would think that if we're going to buy just small parts instead of the whole total package, you may still come back in reasonably within your budget.
right, well, that's, the budget's not the problem right now, it's most of the ones that I've called around here.
Yes.
They have reclaimed wood.
Yeah.
But it's like sided and
Yeah.
old barns.
Yeah.
But when I tell them I want 2x6s,
Right.
2x8s, and 2x10s,
Yeah.
they say, no, we don't do the building.
Mhm.
And I mean, even up to Ontario and Indiana,
Yeah.
I'm getting the same story. So I'm still searching for the structural lumber.
Well, these guys that want to come out with the, and as we see them at the Ag Expo in the fall, is that they lay the log down and on that wood miser and cut away. And what do you want? And you want a true 2x10, 2 inches by 10 inches. Boy, you'll get it instead of that 1 3/4 by 9 1/4. So yeah, that's what you want dialed in. They got it. You may have to supply the materials, but it's an avenue to explore.
Because what the adjuster knows, and here it's like, I can't come up with what he had, so
Yeah.
what he's done is in a 2x8, he's gone to a 2x10.
Yeah.
And
2x10 for a cut down.
then, well, I guess that's
Yeah.
what he's planning,
Yeah.
but he's not giving us the money to cut it.
Yeah,
He just says, go with the 2x10.
A 10 on an 8 budget,
The
yeah.
2x8.
Yeah.
Why am I gonna go with the 2x10?
Just as an FYI, insurance adjusters,
Oh,
they were born to say no.
I've only been working with them since the early 80s.
Yeah,
I was one for a short period.
Yeah.
gotcha.
I say that because this is what I do for a living, and when architectural spec existing product, I have to match it. And so that, as Larry has said, and Kevin said, the product is there. Our goal is this: we welcome that you're involved with the restoration of this home, and we thank you. But as a governing agent, we need to make sure that you're aware of the rules that we have out there, and that is to replace that as close to or near a match of the existing product that's there. That's across the board. Is there any further questions that the board would have with this particular?
Yes. Do you have any, well, we've already asked about the architect, but is there a historical architect or a historical expert that you're referring back to for some of
We
these?
have an engineer who's supposed to have an architect with him, but can't answer that.
Okay,
Again, it wasn't my project. The gentleman whose project was, he was in Maryland. right
Okay.
now. I wanted to make sure that I was here
okay.
covering for him.
All right, good enough.
I mean, not
I just
just
wanted to
one
throw that out there.
down Atlanta before, and they made me switch back 10 different colors back to the original color.
Yep.
So I know that certain things we have to do like that, so that's not an issue.
Okay.
What's your time frame on this?
I would say, because I want to make sure that we got what we got and what we really have to go with and fight the adjuster for what needs to be. He's given a lot of stuff that he doesn't need to, but he's blowing it off. In short, he's talking about replacing all the ceilings. There is no reason. Okay, the only plaster ceiling that's really affected is in the dining room. And even the joist in the attic where I was in, doesn't go beyond the dining room. And for him to be tearing out plaster against plaster on that, with that, it's ridiculous. So it's one of those that, doing this, till it all meshes together.
So you've got some time available
Yes, sir.
on this, so if we were, say, give you, say, 30 days to do your material research
I think that's.
on your end, before we come back, okay?
Is this impacting the residents as far as living there?
They're not in the house.
No,
Okay.
it's not, but it's not.
Just wanted to make sure that we weren't affecting a
Matter of
family.
fact, she was going down to New Orleans and was trying to find replacement windows for the attic.
When I read about it, I went in, I saw the picture, and I wanted to see, so I did a little bit of research on my own. I understand the difficulty that you're having, and I'm not a builder, but was interested in it, and I did see the picture of what you're trying to do, so I appreciate what you're going through.
What is your name? I did not read your
I'm
name.
sorry, George Karras.
Okay, because I was dealing with Sean,
Right.
and obviously he's the one in Maryland.
Sorry.
C-A-R-A-S, okay.
I would like to,
Get your card before.
George, first of all, we thank you for the time you're spending tonight answering some of these questions. We really appreciate that. And we're hoping we can tell that you know your business. But at the same time, we have to enforce the rules that we've set up to date. I would like to get a motion that we get a full package on the restoration of this home at their earliest convenience, be able to review it at the next meeting. Comments to be emailed back across from us, back across to see if we have any questions. If I could get a motion for that, I'd appreciate it.
So move.
I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, and we're looking forward for your information, George.
And George, one other thing, you might reach out to the Villa Rica Area Historical Society. It is an independent. They might not have much money for you, but, well, they don't have any money at all for you, sorry. But they would support you, and they're a very vocal group.
You would happen to have a phone number or an address?
Well, I would be the current president, so, yeah, I probably do.
Your number, is that what you're saying?
Sure. My name's Kim Poor, I think that's it. Okay. 770-364-4600. And you can also consider this an invite to our monthly meeting. It's next Tuesday. And it's at the Masonic Hall that's like 3 doors down.
I saw it.
Okay.
Very good, absolutely. Kim's organization is first rate. They've done some great things in this community. Very good. Let's move on to other business, discussion of miscellaneous items. What's on the docket?
I do not have anything further.
Yes, you do.
I did not know if anyone else would have anything to discuss since it's been a couple of months. I didn't know. anyone-
Well, old business happens to be the election of the officers for the next year.
Absolutely.
Is there any discussion? Then I will offer Mr. Schwarzkopf as the chairman for the 2017-2018 term.
Well, I appreciate that, thank you. If there's anyone else, please, would not feel upset at all.
Oh, not for me, thanks. I first and second and third that motion.
All right.
What are we here for?
Absolutely thrilled.
Well, Nancy and Laura, do you have any comments on this?
The officers for next year, this is my first meeting, so I'm the new kid on the block.
Good meeting to start with.
But so far, you're doing a great job, so.
Well, I guess we would then, at this point, open the floor for a nomination for the chair for the Villa Rica Historical Commission for the next year from June 13th, 2017 till next year, June 2018.
I restate my motion. I motion Mr. Schwarzkopf
Second?
for chairman.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye,
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Big eye.
congratulations.
I'll do my best. Thank you very much.
No, you do a very good job.
You need a.
It's much appreciated.
You need a vice chair.
Absolutely. That's the next.
I vote you a raise also.
What, a dog biscuit? Dog biscuit or a can?
Greasy biscuit.
No, can of 4-in-1 oil?
Yeah, there you go.
I like that thinking, Kim, I do.
Hey, I'm all for it.
As Larry said, we need a vice chair. I'd like to open the floor for nominations at this time.
Does anybody have interest in it?
I'll do it.
In that case, I nominate Larry.
May I have a second? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
I'm sorry.
Pardon?
You gave the second.
Nancy?
Nancy.
Nancy did, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Congratulations, Larry.
Thank you.
Do we need a secretary, or is that,
It's automatic.
okay.
Yeah, that's, we've talked about that. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. I'm looking forward to this next year. I think we've got a great board, and we're going to have a nice year. Looking forward to it. Thank you. Some other points of business I'd like to talk about is each year we designate buildings of historical significance here in Villa Rica. They don't have to be on the National Register, but we try to keep them within the Villa Rica proper area. I would like to get a small committee to look into buildings that could be represented for this year, so that we can get this flax program going again.
Okay.
It'd be a home, a site, a business, anything is open for review.
Do we have a list of the ones we have selected already, so we're not picking the same one over again?
I believe that we can get you that list.
Can we? Okay, good.
But homes, businesses, it's really a great program. And I would love to, a lot of our budget was actually designated in those areas. These signs are $500 to $600 a piece, depending on the size, or if it's a historical marking. Location could be as much as $1,500 to $2,000. So anything along those lines of historical significance, I'm interested in. Is there anyone who would like to be on this small committee?
I would.
Nancy?
Sure, I would too.
Thank you. I don't think I need a motion for that. If we just move forward with these ladies on this, that'd be great. And over the course of the next two meetings, what I'd like is sometime around August to be able to come up with a list that we would vote on, and then be able to facilitate these plaques, and then go out and put them on the buildings, with small ceremonies involved in all cases.
Is there a number that we have in mind, or, I mean, the top 10 in Villa Rica, or in historic downtown, or kind of a rough idea?
What do you think? I'm kind of pretty much open across the board.
Okay.
And,
I was thinking maybe the top 10 oldest homes, the top 10, and not all in the same year, of course. The top 10 oldest businesses, or do we want to go for a smaller number? Say 5?
With our current budget restraints, I think 5 would probably fit in.
Okay.
With the cost and everything.
Okay.
Utilize that budget. I've got a question. Do you think if we go over that we can go back to the city council if we have a good reason for some additional funding? Yes. You know, Kim, let's push that back up to 10.
Gotcha.
Let's move in that direction.
I'd like to see more than just the oldest two. I like weird things and, things outside the box. So I'd like to see more than just the old 10 oldest, whatever. I'm thinking of,
Yeah.
you know, like the old mills that are what is over there? Fullerville.
Fullerville.
You know, the old water towers, you know, I'm into stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see something that may have been really instrumental in the city 100 years ago, but now it's almost forgotten. To bring back the history and how the city was formed, rather than just the oldest things.
Well, you're gonna find out one of the old mill buildings is gonna be torn down.
Yeah, I have been in there several times, as a photography student and taken pictures of the ceilings falling down and all kinds of stuff, so that's what I like, so.
No, what I'm referring to is the fact that one of the mills is right next door.
Uh-huh.
It will become part of, as we might say, urban renewal.
And that's what I was gonna,
Well,
if we had new business,
That's a new building.
I was gonna ask about those plans that they posted
Yeah.
in the happenings, if we need to get involved with that and make sure
Yes.
that there aren't any historical aspects that they're thinking about mowing down and putting a hotel there.
I have several comments about that,
Good. I think we need to get involved with that too.
yes.
I can't agree more.
Thank you.
Can't agree more. It takes someone to speak up to give an opinion, and sometimes in the right direction. So now's the time to be giving those opinions.
Shall I start?
Please. Sure.
We do not need the Jetsons in downtown Villa Rica, period. The design of that hotel is more Villa Rica Library than Villa Rica Chat and Chew. It's a hostel. It's a fancy hostel, and
I don't think
That's-
it needs to be right next to the amphitheater, you know,
the
I was
location.
really surprised that that whole plan came out, because the last I knew, they were going to move City Hall over here, and this was going to be our governmental hub of the city. And then all of a sudden,
It
I'm
was
looking at
about,
this and I'm like,
it's
where-
about justifying the acquisition cost that, in the end, really didn't need to have to be justified. There was no groundswell against it, so it just kind of faded.
But that's one of the reasons why we definitely need to attend the Chris's meetings, or, get involved with it somewhere.
so this is coming more from the Main Street.
Main Street did
DDA Tourism.
DDA Tourism. Main Street did this big strategy group meeting last year over several months, and several hundred Villa Rica residents gave input as to what we'd like to see. And many of them did say a hotel or downtown museum or art center and that kind of thing. And they brought in a consultant, and this consultant has put forward TRU, T-R-U, by Hilton. And if you take a look at that design, you'll see what I'm saying about the Jetsons.
21st century, not,
21st,
I don't know, I haven't seen it, so I'm just commenting. It's 21st versus
22nd.
versus the
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
versus the 1900s.
And I told Leslie I don't like it.
I agree that the ground has not been broken yet for the new facility.
No, it's a couple of years out at least.
The changes now are, this is the time to seek the changes that we would request. This is listed as a historical town. You don't need to be jumping 3 centuries. So I fully agree that trying to create a historical presence or signature on that building is important to us. And I think if we get our voices together, it may have a good time to make an effect on it. So I fully support that.
I'll do whatever you need me to do.
Well, I think, as Kim said, the meeting there in July is a good start.
Okay, good.
All right. All right, very good. At this time, we'd like to open for public comment. Is there anyone here this evening who would like to have a comment or statement on what's going on? Please come forward.
Are you gonna sing again?
You know what? Since Kim wasn't privileged, I might have to do a fancy run through of something. But I save it to the end. Can we make a motion, I save it to the end?
We'll just let it ride right now, okay?
Hi, everybody again, and Miss Kim.
Hi.
It's so nice to see you.
And you as
I'm
well.
Gloria Bannister, and I was so awesomely honored, first of all, to be here. I represent World Changers Church, Villa Rica, 206 North Avenue, right behind us, the big old green and white building. And I started this journey because we've been there for about, I think, 6 or 7 years now. However, we changed our facilitators in November or right around that time at the end of the year. And so the new facilitators, she was supposed to be here, but she didn't come. But we want to love her because if she's here, I'm here, and vice versa. Okay. And so she decided to do an outreach, and I totally did the same like God just did on that last motion. I jumped on the bandwagon. I was like, yes, because I've been here, I moved to Villa Rica and purchased in 06. And I've sang for the Christmas tree lighting with Kim Stovall, and put together the jazz festival to help Christopher, and brought in, the radio stations and all that kind of great stuff. Sang for Carroll County down with Courtney Powell at Goldust Park. Worked in his theater, summer school program. He created a theater for me to teach the babies. And so I know I went to Bradley McLester down in Carroll County and have sang at his Christmas events and stuff. So I always have just been jumping in with everybody. So when she said community outreach, I was like, well, why don't we? So I was like, okay, well, let me start that research on what we need to do to be able to let the community know that our coalition is having great speakers. This is how it started. This is my little recap. How great speakers. So last month we had a judge, Caldwell, who's been on the bench for 70 years. And her entire topic was to our young men in the community, which I think anybody that missed that, it was just, I went there for a whole nother reason. Let me just start there, okay? Just a little quick story. I went there to help her and ended up getting more blessed than I. He told those young boys everything they needed to know, broken down, almost like you guys were dissecting the buildings, on what to do to stay out of trouble in the summer. And don't come to her court, which is the grown-up court. At the end of it, I felt like, wow. So then I was, really stoked. And so I went to meet with Christopher Pike because I've sang for him about what other things we needed to do. And then I was looking at his board, that big map. And I said, is that our church? And he said, yeah. I said, oh, it ain't white no more. What they change the color? Something happened. And then he said, the bottom said 1935. And I was like, we've been around that long? And he was like, yes. And I was like, oh my God. We need to keep the historical aspect of that building alive. And then that put me on the road with you guys. I got my little book here. I got tons of books. I ain't typed up nothing yet because I'm still ink penning it, researching. And I was so honored when I talked to Rhonda on the phone, and I said, Rhonda, can I come tonight? And she was like, yes. And I was like, can we talk? She said, yeah, but you got to sign in. I said, woo, okay then, because I'm a talker. And I really was just blown away at the reception, first of all. You guys are great in receiving, and I just appreciate that welcome. At the same time, the last 10 minutes of looking for those 10 people, I make a motion that we're one. Can I get a second? Can I get a second? Just scratch our name right off the list. World Changes Villa Rica, downtown. And I love what Miss Laura asked me, how does that work? And I know Rhonda had said too. We have two major big screens, and we have a huge big screen. And on that, we go directly to the dome. We have our praise team, but I sang in. And we come out and sing first, and we go straight to the dome. So I just love the fact that it's only 5 minutes from my home. But then it's historical. I was like, you mean to tell me we've been around that long? And that's when Christopher told me we're like in the top 3 churches or standing churches in the city of Villa Rica. And I was like, and I asked, Mr. Dale, and I said, do we get one of them plaques? And then y'all talked about the last 10 minutes. I said, I would love to have one of them plaques, and we would be honored to show people the history. And the reason why is because, like I told you, for the past 10 years I've been out here, I'm already vested in Villa. I love this city. It has been really an awesome, no crime, low crime. You can sit in your front porch. The critters, though, make sure you shut the door. Critters come in the house, I'm just saying, they do. Lord Jesus, the critters will come. You're more scared of the critters than you is the people, okay? And so I just really feel honored that World Changers Church of Villa Rica, and Christopher said, we've been looking for you, Gloria, because we used to do the house tours, the tour of the homes.
Christmas tour.
Yes, and I said, well, you going to do it this year? He was like, no, we're going to do a parade. So I took all that back to my facilitator, and we are going to be in the parade. Christopher said, wait for us to put it up for us to join and everything. But we're going to get our entire youth group involved in that and walking the streets and putting the flyers out so that it gives them an opportunity to keep moving forward. So the things that we're doing with the community outreach program, certainly we want everybody to know the Lord, but that's not what we're really doing. We just want them to love us, and we want to love back on them. And then we just want the children to know how to stay out of trouble, which is why we do our coalition meetings once a month. And next month we're having a sheriff from Douglas County come out to talk to them and to be the deterrent. Somebody has to reinvest back in them, which is what I see you guys doing. And you said, look, is that wood gonna be the same? I said, I never thought about that. I had to write that down. I said, what happens if we need to? I put restoration. That was not even in the thinking. I'm like, dude, does our insurance cover that? You know, so, I mean, I learned so much just in sitting with this, and we would be honored to be on that list and then work with Rhonda and yourselves and everyone on what else we can do. And I've already put you down for next Tuesday. I will be there on time.
Oh, good.
So I said, oh, she said next Tuesday. And then she said 3 doors down at the lodge. Well, amen. I got another outfit in the closet. I'm coming to the lodge. Move over, Villa Ricketts. Lord Bannister's going to be on deck at the lodge. And we would be so honored to be a part of well, we already are, but to actually, since now we have the membership and the, management on the top end change, to be a vested part of this community, which is a lovely community. And with that, I say, tall and tan and young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking, and when she passes each one, she passes goes. When she walks, it's like a samba, it swings so, moves and moves so softly. When she passes each one, she passes goes. Thank you so much. I'm hoping that I was that girl from Ipanema this night for you guys, and you guys were for me.
You've never met a stranger, have you?
No, ma'am.
I didn't think so. Didn't think so. Lovely singing. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Well, what a pleasant way to end our meeting.
I did have one other thing. I meant to talk about it a little while ago. I've noticed over the past couple of months, there are places that are disappearing. Demo permits and homes being moved out, and that's possible. Yeah. And I'm concerned about that. Is there some kind of, hey, wait a minute, let's talk about this before we continue to allow our older structures to go away?
Well, the house that was demoed on Spring Street last year was past its useful life, and
I
it
know.
was going to fall down, whether
Yeah.
we pushed it or it fell on its own, but it was past its time.
I know.
And
I
the
know
owner-
there's
and the
some
owner
that
didn't
have
care.
to go.
No, yeah, it really was.
But-
Termites got control of
We're losing our homes.
Tanner expansion.
Yep.
There are actually 2 houses.
Yeah. Two that's, well, there's two that are in the process of being moved also, right? I'm sure they're thrilled to be away from the ambulances and all, but still, we're, you know?
You bring up a good point. Rhonda, all of the demo permits come across your desk. Technically, our historical jurisdiction is actually the main town right now. We haven't pushed it out due to the fact we haven't got the historical surveys completed. Could we, anything within the downtown proper, are we gonna give them the opportunity to see that demo permit before it's issued?
Yes, if there's something in the downtown, what's already claimed as the downtown area, you would know first. I could let you know if somebody requests, because they'll just come in the office, and I'll get a phone call first, and request it. And usually demos in the year I've been here have been for a replacement building, or as in Tanner, an expansion where they bought the property from the person, or as Mr. Core said, it's just dilapidated and it needs to be taken down. And most of the time, the owners still own the property. They just can decide whether they want to put something else up or not. Sometimes they don't, because they don't live in that house, or, you know, whatever the case, so.
I agree with what you're saying, Kim. Our ability to somewhat control it, though, is really kind of based on us expanding our historical survey, which I think is paramount, something we need to be working on. However, I really would like the opportunity, if this commission can take a look at one, even if it's outside of the jurisdiction, if nothing more, maybe there are other options sometimes that an owner may not see or currently have available to them.
Sure.
So, because you are right, they have been disappearing.
I did have two this year that were due to fires, and one of them's being completely rebuilt, so, you know, it's just different circumstances.
Oh, sure, I understand. There's always a reason for something to be demoed, but,
Everybody didn't come in and just want to clear their land and get rid of the building and not do anything with it. Everybody is either, it's been a cause for it, so.
Right. But it does bring to attention that we need to push the historical survey to expand the historical districts.
Hey, just ask a question, so we can see what we can preserve in this attic area. Does anybody object to a dry ice blasting? And basically, the dry ice doesn't add anything, it just will get the blackness off from the smoke so we can see whether it really needs to. And sometimes you can knock some of the alligator off that would make the wood acceptable and not. Does anybody have an issue with that? If we do that first and then see really what lumber needs to be replaced in the attic before we do that?
Your dry ice is a great as a council, we can't make those recommendations. However, that's an accepted process out there.
I just didn't know if it's acceptable if we do that, or am I tromping on anybody's toes before we do that?
You could bead blast, you could use broken glass, you could use media, whatever works.
I don't like using a lot of the medians because you add a lot more stuff, and that attic is hard to access to begin with, whereas dry ice evaporates. So all you have is a little bit of soot and vacuum that up.
Use it all the time. Very accepted.
Very good, thank you.
Glad to see that we have a competent professional out there.
Well, it's funny you're talking about historic, if you don't mind me saying, is I come from a little town in central Florida where Publix had its first store. And not the first one, but the third one. They used to do mosaic designs. I mean, about the size of that wall and taller. And they did real mosaic stuff. And I just saw an issue from some friends of mine still down there. And for some reason, the owner of the shopping center decided to paint it all over. Now they're trying to see if they can restore the original mosaic design.
Well, there's many tools out there to use, and it's good to see that. Well, at this point, is there any other comments or any other points of business that we may want to discuss this evening?
No business, but just in case anybody is interested in the Hart House, if you are, if you're not, that's, okay.
Please.
The First Baptist Church of Villa Rica is in negotiations with a third party to sell the Hart House and the property thereon.
Could I ask what the Hart House is?
The Hart House is a estimated 1826 home. It's within the city limits of Villa Rica, but it's outside of Old Downtown.
Okay.
If you go out Bankhead Highway to North Van Wert Road, turn right or just look right, you'll see a great big house out there on a brand new foundation. We had it moved.
Oh, okay, I know which one you're talking about now.
Okay.
Mhm.
So that's pretty much my only update on the Hart House right now. We're kind of at a total standstill.
Begs to ask them other questions.
It begs to ask a lot of questions. I've tried to set up a meeting with Mark Camp and David Mecklin. We're working on it. And the society does not insist, nor do we even, strongly want to keep control of the Hart House. We're totally fine with a third party owning it and using it to the best of its ability. And the entity that's looking at it, and I don't know how far they are into negotiations, is a senior residence facility. So it could very well be used for offices or, administrative, something of that nature, and I would be thrilled. No problem, please do. We just want it to be restored and taken care of. And the only thing that we would really like to see if this goes forward is, say, the memorial library for the Hart family or the Leathers family. Those are the two oldest families that we have descendants, active descendants. So, we're not asking for much.
And I know the details are still
In limbo.
limbo. Right. It's very interesting. I have not heard that. Yeah. Let's make sure that's on the agenda for the next meeting, if that's possible. I'd like to further explore that.
Hopefully I'll have more information by then.
And hopefully there will be a good use plan to restore the building.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for that information, Kim.
No problem.
Is there anything else this evening that the board would like to discuss?
If you give me a minute, I'll think of something else.
Take all the time you like. Well, based upon that, I think we're going to adjourn our Historical Commission meeting this evening. Thank you all for attending, and Laura, welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. All
Second,
those in favor?
third.
Second. Say aye.
Aye.
We have the... Thanks for keeping me on track.